other African-American women that you're representing.
That just goes to show that like things you do in school actually matter. Like having side projects actually matters.
I think something to keep in mind is like, you were chosen to be there because you are different.
Yeah.
Like you're already qualified. You do not have to prove yourself. You are an equal to everybody else that is present.
Make lists like, okay, what is it that I want to do? Okay, these are the things I'm interested in. Okay, like what companies have these things that I'm interested in? What teams? What individuals? Are they on LinkedIn? Can I reach out to them? Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath because you're probably like scared or whatever.
Can y'all breathe with us real quick? Is that a lot of the jobs that are currently being created in 2020 were not created in 2018. Mm-hmm. Thus, a lot of the jobs you are applying for now, later on, there'll be a whole new role in 2021. At the end of the day, they're looking for people that are agile.
Thank God I got the job. Like that, just for future reference, like,
thank God. Thank God. We're reading off questions that we had asked, by the way, through our Instagram.
At Collective Chris, go follow me, shit like that.
And at Lizzie_Asandia. We had asked through our IG stories like, hey, we're about to shoot a video this week and we wanted to know what questions you guys have for us. And so these are the questions that we're reading off from you all. Someone had asked, what experience did you have that was tech related prior to applying to those jobs? None.
Like,
none.
I only knew how to use a laptop, like simple MacBook. That was my tech experience.
In my head, I was like, I have a YouTube channel. I know how to read, Google Analytics because YouTube is powered by Google, and I can find ways to market and convey a message. Like, this is my tech experience. This is my research experience. And now how do I merge those two? But actual, like, if we had an internship at a business, no.
Yeah, and then like for like entertainment, I'm gonna just assume that someone asked like entertainment experience, not at all. But I will say that like I didn't realize that like the things that I did in school completely translated to like what I do now.
Yes.
So like for instance, I was like the creative director for like this fashion show that we have called Africa Day at my school. I went to the University of Virginia. For instance, I told them in one of my interviews, I told them how we did like a mini marketing campaign. Like we would post literally about the fashion show all over school, but I didn't know that was like a tactic in marketing. Mm-hmm. So that just goes to show that like things you do in school actually matter. Like having side projects actually matters.
That, yeah. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Because although I was pre-med and all my classes were medical related, I joined my sorority my sophomore year and I was the first vice president, so I did all the program events. And so being able to be on an exec board, manage personalities, be able to throw events, even if you're not present, how is it gonna go, like from start to finish and things of that nature. All of that was very applicable towards my business.
Yeah, but we didn't have any like actual experience. Okay. So I got a lot of repeat questions for tips for editing a resume, like the cover letter and like if a cover letter is important, things like that. So I guess,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, so for me, through a lot of trial and error, with your resume, one, if you don't have any experience, I didn't have any, try to make side projects. And that doesn't mean like going and like joining an organization, because some of you guys I know are in your senior years and you don't have time
to
join.
It's like a bit late.
Yeah, it's late. So like literally do anything that like is related to the field. Like I remember like for me, it was like too late for me as well. So I like made videos on the side that I just posted to YouTube, not for like being a YouTuber, but like I just did it just to like get my editing skills up and like use different softwares. So you can list those on your resume. And then in terms of like the resume itself, you really do have to tailor it to like each job that you get. So I would literally go make a general resume that you know that you can literally just switch out like each bullet to like something that's described on like the job application. So like if your resume, like if the job application says like, oh, they must have like 5 to 10 or 2 to 3 years experience programming XYZ software, then you can just go on your resume and be like, oh, I have experience doing that software. You know, just very relevant. Tweak it. You do have to tweak it per job, but make your resume so that it will only take you like 5 minutes to like tweak it to the job description.
Yes.
And that'll make it way easier to apply to jobs. And I will say the last thing that it really changed the game for me, and I started getting a lot more callbacks, is change your address to the state that the job is in. Do you hear me?
Nah, that's facts.
Do you hear me?
That's facts right there.
Do you?
After a while, you can literally tell them, oh, I just happen to currently reside in Dallas.
Yes.
I just so happen to. But it's no problem. That ain't no problem.
That ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
You want me to move? I can move.
No, you can.
You have to make it seem like you're flexible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in their mind, they're gonna be like, this person's all the way in Dallas. They're applying to a job in New York. Why would I want them? Like, they're gonna think about relocation fee versus somebody. All the people applying in New York.
Yes, that was
put New York on your application.
There's already so much competition that if your resume says you're out of state, they probably won't even look at it.
As far as resume tips that I would give, I think tweaking it to the specific company is helpful. So like my company's B2B, the company culture and structure is very different from a B2C type of business. So B2B is business to business, B2C is business to consumer. Most of the business to consumers are gonna have way more of a relaxed company culture. So you can be more playful in a sense, or you can show the extracurriculars that you have that show that you have more personality on your resume, is how I would describe it. Versus with B2B, you want to let them know that you have a logistics background, or even if you don't have a logistics background, here's how it is correlated to it. You also want to use measurements, so you want to show them results. You don't want to just say, I was the first vice president of my sorority for 2 years. You want to say, by being the first vice president for 2 years, I was able to drive $2,400, raise that much money through fundraisers or through programmed events, or like you want to use some type of quantitative number so that they know that you can give them results.
Yeah.
If you have all of your stuff in like maybe 3 bullets per, then that's more than enough, because I've looked at more experienced colleagues, like maybe they have 10 years in the workforce, and the way they can consolidate their resume, it almost makes it look like when someone comes from college, they want to throw everything that they have on a resume, and it's like, you really don't need to do all that.
No, keep it to 1 page.
Yeah, you want to keep it 1 page. You want to keep it as clear and concise as possible. Show the results, use a lot of numbers, and really just try to show who you are in correlation to the company. Another tip I would say is if a company has a whole job description for that application, you want to take that job description and you want to use some of those words and those verbiages in yours, because at the end of the day, a lot of HR is not people manually looking through it. They have a system and they're looking for keywords. So if you don't have the keywords on your application, you're pretty much just gonna get lost in the shuffle.
And I will say, like, one caveat to changing your address to the state that the job is in is that you need to be prepared. If you do get an interview in person, like, you obviously can't say no. So you need to be prepared to like book a flight at a moment's notice. Like for my
you can't tell them like, can you pay Guinea?
No, literally for HBO, because I put a New York address. They told me to come in 3 days later, and thank God I had savings. I booked a flight the next day and just went to the interview, and thank God I got the job. Like that, just for future reference, like
thank God.
But I would say definitely have like a bank of like maybe like $500 in savings if you are applying to jobs out of state. It's a lot of money for a college student, so
it takes money to make money.
It really does. So try to save up, and just be prepared.
So the next question that we have is, how do you separate yourself in a corporate environment as a Black woman? I'll start. Being a Black woman in a corporate space for my company, it is B2B. So as I had described the difference between B2B and B2C company cultures, as far as separating myself, I'm a vocal person in a sense of I like to do public speaking. So whenever we're in teams or group settings, I always try to ensure that I like raise my hand and answer the question first, or try to add value and provide feedback and help and things of that nature, or whenever there is talking points, I'll try to use some of my strengths. Another thing, everyone at my job knows like, okay, Lizzie enjoys fashion. She likes to dress up. She'll change her hair up. She'll do her makeup. Like she'll come with a full face, but that's literally just her on a daily. And I think that has helped because whenever we would have like executives come into the office, I would always already have a blazer on and I would already always be in heels or like pointed toe flat. So I was already ready. My mindset is like, you just stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because as a Black woman, you're already singled out before you even open your mouth and speak. Just being aware that you represent so many people when you go into these spaces and into these rooms, because there's not going to be a lot of representation of you. Just be cognizant of that. So being on your P's and Q's, always being polished, professional, polite, show your personality, let them know like who you are, open up in a sense. Like everyone wants a teammate or a colleague that is human. You don't have to be robotic. So yeah, you can add your flair when you come into the office, but just try to maintain your presence on a professional level. When you go to happy hours and things of that nature, like let them know who you are. Get comfortable in a sense. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna spend what, 40 hours with them? So you want to still be able to be yourself in spaces. But when you do change up your hair, anticipate and expect those questions. I remember we had a work conference and on Monday I had a long wig for the team dinner, and then Tuesday morning, like 6 a.m. we had breakfast before the session started, and one of my colleagues was like, hey, did you cut your hair? You did that yourself last night? Because I switched to a bob. Baby, I switched to that bob and I was like, yeah. Like sometimes you don't have to go into the long explanation of education and saying like, no, actually I'm wearing a wig and I switched out my wig. That's not your place, because that's not the setting. Unless if they ask you in another time when you had time and you feel comfortable with them, you want to explain it, you could go into detail. Hey girl, like this is extension. All these braids are not me. Like if you want to give those full analysis, but you don't have to. Remember, it's not your job to educate someone on who you are and how you are being presented. Like you don't have to over explain yourself. I think as a Black woman, some of us feel like we do have to over explain ourselves because we are more foreign to them. They're not used to seeing us. And I'm saying them and us because we are the minority. There's not a bunch of African-American females or males in corporate spaces, but it's not your job to explain who you are.
Look, like when I go into any space, like for me, you're gonna know I'm Black and you're gonna know who I am. Like I've just never, you're gonna know I'm there. Like I have tried to reel myself in, and like there are times where like I can sense that like people are uncomfortable with like some lingo or like some nuances that I have as a Black person. But again, like what you said, it's not like my job to educate them on who I am. I will say that like I just think it's a disservice to like not bring all of you to like your workplace. Like you're there for like most of your life anyways, so everyone should be able to see who you really are. So just being able to like stand out as a Black woman.
I love that, what you said.
Oh snap, for real?
Yeah, can I add something to that, then you can go back to what you're saying? I think something to keep in mind is like, you were chosen to be there because you are different. Yeah. Like you're already qualified. You do not have to prove yourself. You are an equal to everybody else that is present. They wanted you because of all the extra stuff and the different stuff that you bring. Yeah. So don't start hiding who that is. Yeah. Let them see it, because that's why you're there.
But just like to stand out, like I definitely think that, and it sounds so cliche, like just be yourself. Like I just and be kind. Like if anything, like if you don't have experience in the industry, if you don't have like just the background that you need to have at that job, like you can do like two things. You can show up on time and you could be nice. Like being nice takes you so far, and like learning everybody's names, like being sure to ask people how their day is. Like I've noticed that like it just goes so far. Like people will come back up to you and ask how your day is, or like people will be genuinely interested in like what you do, how you do it, or like be willing to teach you the job that you don't have experience in. So
building relationships and networking and just naturally being the charismatic person you are is what's gonna draw them to you.
Like being nice, like it sounds so like, oh my God, being nice, but like being nice really just, it sets you apart from so many people. Like I, like at HBO, and this is not to like call them out or anything, but like I noticed that like sometimes like I'll walk past people and like they won't say anything, and I'll be like, hi, like hello, like how are you doing? Like what is your name? Like I just want to know. So, like, yeah, like for future reference, I can like whenever I see you, I can say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And like that just fosters relationships like just on the ground level. So like whenever you need a favor or like whenever like you know it just really just will help you out in the end. And then I will say like the one other thing to stand out, give your opinion even if you think it's dumb as hell. Like look, working at HBO has taught me a lot. Like they be speaking in a different language sometimes and like I be saying some dumb ass shit, but like
can I tell them a lingo that I So through email, of course you can't hear tone, but someone through email had stated like they CC'd a bunch of people on it and they were addressing me and they were like, hey, can someone help with this situation because as you can see in the below message, Elizabeth is out of pocket.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I read that email and I was like, out of what? Because in Black culture, if somebody's out of pocket, that means like they stepped out of line, out of boundaries, like they're doing something wrong. And if you're gonna send that message, it's going to be perceived as passive aggression. Like, how are you gonna CC all these people and say that I was out of pocket? But in reality, what they mean is this person was out of office. That's all it means. Like, this person was out of office, whether it was sick time or it was vacation, they needed somebody else to assist because the person was out of office. And so understanding like work corporate lingo is really helpful because you'll be sitting there and conversation will be around you and you'll be like, what's going on? Wait, huh? Yeah. And don't take everything offensive. Like not everything is meant to be offensive. Sometimes it's just lingo that you're not hip to.
Yeah, but definitely just standing out as a Black woman, like you already stand out, you might as well keep standing out. Like you might as well just keep standing out. So carry yourself in a kind but like very firm and intentional manner. You'll be good. And the confidence will come as you like just keep working. So.
I can definitely say that I became way more independent and way more confident as I was growing through my company.
Yeah.
Because the Lizzie I was prior when I applied and the Lizzie I am now, different.
Yeah, and dressing up really does.
Yes.
Because nobody dresses up in corporate America.
Please don't be
dressing in black t-shirts and jeans. No, like I wear this.
And your hair is black. Be not black because you're already the Black woman. Most of the people that are viewing this, I'm sure you are Black women. Hence the question, how do you separate yourself in a corporate environment as a Black woman? So if you're already going to stand out, please think of all of the other African American women that you're representing. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. Think of all the women of all ethnicities and think of all the African Americans. Those are the two groups that you're identifying with. Just think of them before you get up and walk out of your house, please. Please. Next question. Ooh, what do you do next if you've emailed a recruiter and got no response?
Okay, if you've emailed a recruiter, first of all, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you email a recruiter once and if they don't reply, don't ever email them again. Like, not don't ever email them again, but you need to look to other avenues to get a response for the job that you applied for. So again, when I mentioned about LinkedIn and going to see people who are on those teams, whatever the job is, enter that team name into LinkedIn, see who's on the team, message those people on LinkedIn, and just try to reach out to them. Like,
I have a question for you though.
What's up?
Why only email them once and why not twice? Like a follow-up.
No, that's why I took back what I said.
Okay,
that's why I took back what I said. But like recruiters, they get not thousands. They get a lot.
They about to be fooled.
Yeah, and it's not that they're not responding. Like they're just busy. Like busy. And they have to focus on so many. It's nothing personal. And I've heard from recruiters themselves that like they're not invested in like half the emails that they get. So yeah, definitely reach out to the team members, reach out to anybody like in that space, and just try to get a response from them. Rejection really does get easier, I'm not gonna lie.
No, you start rolling with the punches.
You do.
You be like, it's okay. It's like, what's
okay.
up?
Like you just move on to the next
That's fine.
Like after so many like no's, you're just looking like
Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
And you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because at some point you're gonna win. At some point.
Yeah.
Do you plan on furthering your education in your field? So for me personally, because I was already like a long-term goal planner type of person, like I saw 28, 29 and like med school, residency, fellowship, I am not opposed to going back to school to get my MBA. But although I'm not opposed, it has to make sense. Personally, my view on going back to school to further your education, there's pros and cons to it. Yes, if you can get your company to pay for it, that makes sense. Yes, if you're currently looking to get a promotion or you want to transition roles and that's one of the requirements, that makes sense. But having the Nigerian mindset, or I would say African mindset, that you just want to further your education so you can have another degree, to me does not make sense. It has to make sense, or you're just putting yourself in more debt for what? Yes, it's nice to have that title, but sometimes titles they're not everything. But yes, personally for myself, I'm not opposed to it. I am interested in it, going back to school.
Cool. I am not furthering my education. I'm done. I'm done with school. Only because for the entertainment industry, I weighed out the MBA option, and I felt that in today's age, you can really get wherever you want to go without an MBA. So yeah. There's a question that says, any advice on how to take the initial steps? So I would definitely say, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath because you're probably like scared or whatever.
Can y'all breathe with us real quick? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, the initial steps is be sure this is what you want to do, because it's kind of like all or nothing, and like it's definitely like okay to like go out and do whatever you want, but you also do need a backup plan. And I think that is what reassured me in taking those initial steps, is that if I didn't end up going to the entertainment industry, I still had dental school because I was still genuinely interested in it. So have a safety plan, and then also make lists like, okay, what is it that I want to do? Okay, these are the things I'm interested in. Okay, like what companies have these things that I'm interested in? What teams? What individuals? Are they on LinkedIn? Can I reach out to them? Like it kind of just goes in like a pattern, and like once you have everything listed out, it really, you can see something that's like tangible, and like you see like what goals you can make from that. So that is like the initial step, is really just listing out your safety plan, what you're interested in, and just researching companies from there.
These two questions I'm gonna group together. One is tips for applying to jobs post-graduation. Another one is important skills to develop while job hunting. So I'll give you the two-part. So when you're applying post-graduation, you've already graduated, one major tip I have is that you are not alone. There are so many people that may go through a state of post-grad depression, or may go through a state of confusion, or may go through a state where they just genuinely do not want to hear the question, what is next? Because they're still in their phase of figuring it out. So that's my first tip, like, know that you're not alone and take a deep breath, and you'll be able to navigate it. There's so many people who are in that same boat. Now, some skills to develop while you're doing your job hunt: sharpening your skill sets towards careers that are needed. So if they have asked for certifications within their business, for example, Google has a lot of jobs that will require for you to get certified in like Google AdSense, or get certified in something that is related to what it is that they do. Google Analytics, algorithms, things of that nature. You cannot expect to just apply and get the job. Or for example, a lot of companies are looking for people that are skilled in CRM tools. So if you have your certification in like Salesforce, or if you have a certification, if you're going like the engineer route in like AWS, that is really helpful. Taking those boot camps, or even going on YouTube and just self-taught, going on YouTube and sharpening your Excel skill sets. So helpful, because there's gonna come a point in time when they're asking you to do all this Excel work, and your coworkers are over here like this, and you think they're wizards, but in actuality, they either paid attention in their classes or they went on YouTube to sharpen their skill sets. There's also a website/app called Skillshare, and you can learn so many different things on there. So check that out, Skillshare. This is not advertised at all, but I think it's helpful. They even have like free trials, just saying. But there's so many tools out there for you to sharpen your skill set so that you can be more marketable and so you can really scream that you are tailoring your experience towards a specific job role. That's what I'm saying.
Cool. I got a question saying, what would you say are the best sites to apply for jobs in entertainment and media? I would definitely say number 1 is LinkedIn, because it's LinkedIn. And then 2 is this website called Jopwell. Have you heard of that? Jopwell? Yeah, Jopwell. It's like JOPWELL. That site has a lot of like media entertainment jobs as well as tech jobs, and they tailor it. They specifically tailor it towards like Black and minority applicants. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Someone had asked, how do you assert yourself in the workplace while still being ladylike? I think it's good to be self-aware. If you are aware of how you're perceived, that is like key. I say this because if you're not aware, you can run into some difficulties. So it's nice to have constructive criticism or feedback, like when you ask maybe a coworker that you're closer to, or you ask your manager during your evaluation, what are some things that I can be better at? So with all of that, I know what my strong suits are. I'm really good at public speaking. I'm really good at professionalism. I'm really good at client-facing interactions. Therefore, I have the personality per se that they would want to put in front of a client. If they thought, let me think of a colleague that I can put on a stage to talk to new hires, or I can think of a colleague that would be fit for a role where they can travel and meet with clients, I would be top of mind. So knowing that I have a stronger personality in like an alpha female mindset, but also tearing it down by being less aggressive. So a lot of African American women could be perceived as the mad Black woman.
Yeah.
As she had mentioned, you want to be kind. Yeah. You want to be likable. You want to smile often and just be your charismatic self. People will be drawn to that genuine personality that you have. If you think of the relationships you have in your life, whether it's a parent, a sibling, romantic, think of how you can sharpen those relationships while correlating it to a coworker. And that coworker will automatically look at you as a friend because you're using the same skill sets that I use when I talk to Krystal that I would use when I'm talking to one of my coworkers. And then with that, it would help them be able to see your genuine personality, thus causing you to be more ladylike, if that's your question.
I had a question saying, how much do these big companies prioritize past experience versus an applicant's ability to be coachable? That's a really good question. I was definitely hired off of coachability.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I definitely would say that, I think it's like equal. Like, I really do think it's equal, honestly. I think that it depends on where you are in your career. Like if you're just at the beginning, of course, like pretty much no one has experience. So I do think, honestly, they look towards companies or like internships and stuff. So that at that point, you really do have to make yourself stand out by networking, reaching out to people, things like that.
To add on to her point, a lot of advice that I've been getting is being agile, which is like being coachable, being teachable. So some tips that I would give is that a lot of the jobs that are currently being created in 2020 were not created in 2018. They were not created in 2016. They were not created in 2014. Mm-hmm. Thus, a lot of the jobs you are applying for now, later on, there'll be a whole new role in 2021. And so even the current role that I'm in the previous role that I had within IBM was not created when I had applied. At the end of the day, they're looking for people that are agile. They're looking for people that can learn on the job. You ask a lot of questions early on, but you can grasp. They don't want someone who they have to manage or micromanage, or they have to like really hone in and just like hold your hand. You want to show that you are an aggressive learner, that you are eager to learn, and you will go out of your way to self-teach. We've talked a lot and we've tried to answer a lot of the questions that were coming at us.
We got like every topic.
So I hope this was very informative and helpful for you guys. I hope you guys were able to see our true and transparent experiences, as well as our genuine personalities through it.
Yeah. And you can always reach out to me.
Yes.
I deadass will reply. Like, it might take me some time, but I will reply because I know how weird and like how like depressing and sad and like just uncertain this whole process can be. So like, if I can help at all, like just reach out, DM me, like I got you. So.
Yes. And then lastly, for everyone that is in panic mode during this quarantine time, just try to decompress, try to take a deep breath, and try to meditate on what God is trying to say to you. Whether you're spiritual or not, I just got to throw it out there because I feel like he has a message for us and this is happening for a reason. So try to figure out what is he internally saying for my current plan and his will that he has for me.
Yeah, things always work themselves out. So.
This too shall pass. So we are out. Thanks for sitting and chatting with us.
Thank you.
Bye guys.
Bye.